Welcome to the Lawyer's Title Dynamic Farm training video. So this will be a very short video to train you on how to use the Lawyer's Title Dynamic Farm. It's a phenomenal system and this will give you some great information. So the website is http://ltdynamicfarm.com. That's where you go to sign in. If you have not signed in, I'm going to go ahead and take out my login and password. If you have not signed in, you'll click on create an account. And it's very simple. You fill out this form here and hit submit. Key points to note: the email address. If you are creating your account, the email address, you want to make sure that you use whatever your permanent email address is, because you cannot change that. So use an address that an email address you're always going to have. All of our farms, when we order dynamic farms for you, we have to have that email address to be able to upload them to your system. Fill out your information here. On the rep, you're going to select the rep. Obviously, my name is Kevin Sales. You're going to go down to Los Angeles and find Kevin Sales and select me. And then on the access code, the system access code is Dynamic Farm with no caps, no caps, no spaces. So Dynamic Farm, just like it is here. I'm the rep, and make sure your email address information is correct. So that's what you're doing if you're signing up yourself or having someone sign up. But for those of you who already have an account, you will enter your account name and you will put in your password and hit log in. Once it logs you in, it will show you the farms that you have. So for instance, if you order a farm from me, usually within 24 or 48 hours, it will be uploaded into your system so that when you log in, it's there. The system will send you an email saying, hey, you have a new farm uploaded, and it'll be there. So let's look here and see what's pretty cool about this. So right off the bat, it tells you the date the farm was created. It tells you the turnover rate for your farm. So pretty awesome. In California, if you have a farm that's 4% or higher, that is phenomenal. You're going to get your best results there. Something higher than that is even better. I mean, if you're above 5, it is rock star. It's great. So if you have something like this one here, which is 6.95, that is amazing. You get better results because for mailing or marketing to those people, you spend less dollars to get the results you're looking for. And for the most part here in Southern California, you're talking average of 10,000 commission on each transaction. The auto update, it's good for that that box to be checked, because the farm will automatically update monthly when there's new sales and that sort of thing. I believe the system updates on the 15th and the 30th of the month. So monthly, you'll know the new homeowners and all that stuff will be added in. And over here, there's a share button where you can share your farm or click download. You can download your farm to a CSV. Most printing companies, most database systems, almost everything takes CSV. That's perfect. CoreFact is a phenomenal way to send out your postcards. You can download to CoreFact data that you can upload. You can email the farm somewhere. You can print out your labels, print reports, etc. Mail merge letters. This is phenomenal. And match email addresses, which I'll show you that in just a moment. So pretty cool that you can do that right from the opening screen. But we're going to select this one. And I'm sorry, we don't want to select that one. If you wanted to delete one, you'd select it and then hit delete. I'm going to click here to select this Temple City farm. And in a moment here, it will open up. So you can see the website moves really fast. Everything's pretty quick. It's pretty intuitive. So the complete farm is what we're on here. You can see that there's 1 through 10 records here of basically 8,000 records showing up. 10 records per page. You can select that to be up to 100 records per page if you want. If you want to search for a record, you can do that here. But what's pretty cool, so you can select, let's say I just wanted to select these two and I wanted to export them. I just hit that. Okay, I wanted to export them. I can click on this down arrow and download just those 2 records as a CSV, or I can print labels for just those 2 records. So as I'm working the farm, I can select individuals and do different things that I want. I can also select some, and at the bottom here, click Move to Flag, and I can flag those for deletion, or I can flag those again to download all of them, or whatever the case may be. That's pretty good when maybe you're out door knocking and you find out, oh, that guy's a listing agent, or maybe you know your farm and you know John Doe, who's a real estate agent, is in your farm and you want to take them out. You can flag them and delete them, or move them out of your farm. But here's what's cool. So let's look at it. It has all these sub farms within your farm. So out of this total of 8,000 records, I can click on recent buyers and it'll show me the people who have purchased in the last 90 days. I can click on out-of-state owners. These are all the people who own in my farm, but they live out of state based on their mailing address. Absentees would be all the absentees, including the out-of-state and the non-out-of-state. But I can click on them and you can see in real time, it will generate that list of those people that are absentee owners. Pretty cool stuff that you have this all at your fingertips. And if you want to market to the absentee owners, you can, and it's very simple. What I love about it is with one click, I now have all the absentees, and then it separates the out-of-state ones, because the folks that are out of state, they don't know what's going on. Your boots on the ground here in Southern California real estate, they don't know what's going on here. And so you have a great way of being able to share with them, hey, it's at the top of the market. Now's the best time to sell. There's so much demand. We can get top dollar for your house. Those types of marketing pieces that might get them to get off the fence. And like I mentioned before, you have statistics with the turnover rates, and I'll show you that right now because it's pretty cool, and then I'll come back to these. But if you click on stats, it breaks down all these different pie charts. I mean, this is stuff that you could use for a listing presentation as well, because you can show the person that, hey, here's a percentage of owner-occupied to non-owner. Here's how that plays into my marketing technique in marketing your property, percentage of condo to single family, etc. But on the owner-occupied, you see owner-occupied, the turnover rate is 3.1%. So percentage owner, it's 82% owner-occ, 17% non-owner. But 3% of the owner-occs is the turnover rate. Okay, on the non-owner occupied, that's 17%, it's an 8.24% turnover rate. Again, the higher the turnover rate, the better. For those of you who don't really understand turnover rate, it's the percentage of homes that will sell. In this case, the percentage of homes that have sold in the last 12 months. The higher that percentage, the better off for you, because that means there's going to be more listings in that neighborhood. So this tells you right off the bat, hey, targeting the absentee owners is a smart move, because I'll get more transactions this year if I target those. So the statistics here that it shows are really good for using different data for figuring out how you're going to do your marketing. But let's go back. We were up here at absentee owners. We're going to go back over to owner occupied. I'm sorry, these are the owner occupied. So we looked at out-of-state owners, we looked at absentee owners, which includes all the out-of-state owners, and we looked at the owner occupied. Now let's go over here to Focus Farm. Focus Farm is a list of properties with the same attributes of homes that have sold in the last 12 months. So there's an algorithm that's calculated, and it says, hey, the average home that sold in the last 12 months was 3-bedroom, 2-bath, X amount of square footage. It had an owner who lived in it for 6 years, etc., etc., etc. The algorithm runs and lets you know these are the Focus Farm. So again, this is a list of people that are more likely than the entire farm to sell in the next 12 months. The statistics show that you'll have about 20% better results if you target the Focus Farm than if you just target the regular farm. I'm going to skip over that and go to Focus Spotlight, because this is a list of homeowners that have owned from 25 months to 13 years, and through an algorithm it calculates those and figures out, hey, which ones are most likely to sell. So again, another breakdown of your farm of the people that are most likely to sell. But let's go over here to the neighborhoods. When you click on the neighborhoods, it breaks down the entire farm into the zip code +4 that the mail carriers use. So it breaks it down into smaller neighborhoods. And you can see in those smaller neighborhoods what the non-owner occupancy rate is, how many sales happen there, average years owned, etc., and the turnover rate. In this area, there's 390 properties, but there's no sales, so there's no turnover rate. But you can go down and look, okay, so here, only 6 homes, one of those probably sold, which gave a 16% turnover rate. In this area, there were 8 homes, 2 sold, which gave a 25% turnover rate. So it's pretty cool that it breaks it down, and you can check in the different areas and look for the areas with the highest turnover rate, but it's broken down into zip +4, which are much smaller neighborhoods. So that's pretty cool what the neighborhood tab does for you. The new owners shows all homeowners that purchased in the last 24 months. For a long-term, planting a long-term seed, that could be a great way to say, hey, I noticed that you're fairly new in the neighborhood. I'm a local agent. I do this or that that's unique, and just wanted to make sure you knew who I was and establish, myself in the neighborhood. It's a good way to establish contact with some of the new homeowners. I already talked about the Focus Spotlight, the long-term property owners. And now I want to go flag for deletion. I mentioned earlier, if I'm on one of the sub farms, let's say I'm on the out-of-state sub farm, and again, there's about 8,000 records in this farm. There are 47 that are out of state. So easy one to market to with not a lot of people. But if I'm on this one and I wanted to flag, let's say this guy, something's wrong, I wanted to delete this because maybe this guy owns real estate or he's just a real jerk and I don't want to contact him anymore, I can flag him. He'll show up in the flagged sub database, and it keeps him out of my database for doing mailers. If I want to actually delete him, then once he's in the flagged, I can click on delete and it'll delete him. But what I want to show you, so the system, this alone is phenomenal, gives us some tools that we haven't had before and makes this system well worth it. But what I'm going to show you now just pushes it over the top. It's the premium area. So everything you've seen up to here, completely free. We set that up for you. It's completely free. You don't have to worry about anything there. The premium area, because of SB 133, are the parts that you have to pay for. So if you want the notice of defaults or notice of sales in your area, that's the foreclosure data in your area, you can obtain that. And it's, I believe, 8 cents per record. So the way you would purchase these things are you buy credits. And so for instance, when I click on the notices of default, it'll tell me there are 2 new notices of default available. What's cool is all the things on this page, for instance, notice of default, notice of sale, marriages, births, deaths, and divorces, all of these will give you a notification. So I would have received an email that said, hey, there are 2 new records that are notice of default in your farm. So I don't have to keep monitoring this and checking. It'll send me an email. When I get the email, I can go in and I can buy those records. And I believe the notices of default, I believe they're 8 cents each for the notice of default and notice of trustee sale. So for 16 cents, I can find 2 people that are struggling with their home. If that's not the best, I mean, that would be worth it for $16, but for 16 cents, it's a no-brainer. Same thing with the notice of trustee sales. And while I'm talking about leads, I'll come back to phones and emails, but with marriages. So these are more expensive. Marriages, births, deaths, and divorces, these all cost $5 each. Each credit is worth $5, and you can buy credits. Because there's no credits in this test account, we would have to click on refill credits. You put in your credit card number, you buy a certain amount of credits, and then I'd be able to use those credits to buy the 10 new records that are here as marriages. But you know, marriages, those are people, you know, maybe you target people that have homes that are, you know, 1,200 square foot or smaller, and they just got married or they just had a birth, because they may be the person that very soon is going to be selling the property. The deaths, this is great because you'll know when someone dies in a property. The family, you know, after their grieving time, they may not know what to do with the real estate. They may not be able to afford the real estate. There may be some changes that need to go on because one of the people on title died. And this could be a great target to be ahead of the curve on probate leads, or just to be in the mix with the family, even if it's not going to be a probate, to deal with, you know, an after the death sale or refi or transaction. And divorces, we all know that divorces are there's a high instance of a sale of real property when there's a divorce, and so you can get the divorces as well. So these 4, divorces, deaths, births, and marriages, will cost you $5 each, but the system will send you an email saying you have 10 new records that are whatever the case may be. And again, the system updates on the 15th and the 30th of the month, so you'll probably be getting those emails around those times. But now I want to come back to the phones and the emails. So on the phones, when I click on phones, here's what's cool about the phones. If there are phone numbers that the tax assessor has, which prior to SB 133, title companies had that data, it was completely free. It's kind of more like public record phone numbers. Those you'll get for free. They don't charge you for those. But 90% of the phone numbers that they get for you will be cell phone numbers, mobile phone numbers. And for those, they charge 25 cents each. So out of the about 8,000 homes in this farm, there are 1,553 mobile phone numbers that we have. That is phenomenal. And so you pay 25 cents each for those. I don't know what that comes out to, around 400 bucks, let's call it. But for $400, you could have all the mobile numbers of all the people in your farm, and you can call them. You can do text blasts. You can there's systems out there that I've talked about in the past called Sly Broadcast, where you can send a voicemail directly to their phone without their phone even ringing. So if you want to leave a message about your neighbor's only preview or your neighbor's only open house, you can do that via a text blast. You can do that via a voicemail. And I just want to note that nothing replaces person-to-person contact. There's nothing better than actually talking to the person on the phone. But if you're in a pinch, if there's a large number of records, or you want to get word out about an event that's coming up, you can use that and give a notification that way via text blast, or you know, something like Sly Broadcast, where you're dumping a voicemail on their phone. So that's pretty cool. You could purchase those records, all the mobile phone numbers in the area that they have in the system, and it's pretty awesome stuff. Last thing I'm going to share is, and by the way, with mobile phone numbers and email addresses, you can do that with the mobile phone numbers. You can put those into custom lists in Facebook and then target your farm area via Facebook ads. So it's pretty cool. You can do it without the phone numbers too, with Facebook, because they let you do geographic, coding and stuff like that on your ads. But this could be a way that everyone that lives in there that's a homeowner, you make sure their ad your ad shows up on their Facebook profile by putting in their mobile phone number. So that's a whole different workshop. I'd have to teach you how to do it if you don't know, but you can contact me if you have questions about that. But the emails. So at this moment, I have not licensed any of the emails in here. So what I do is I click match emails, and this will match emails that have been geocoded to the addresses of these homeowners, and it'll let me know how many email addresses there are. So I'm going to click that. The cool thing about this is when I license, so let me tell you how the licensing works. When I license the email addresses, I'm the only person through Dynamic Farm that can get those email addresses. And I don't actually get the email addresses. I can contact them via email. So I'm the only person. So it's first come, first serve. If you have a farm area, I would say jump on it. It's practically free. It's 4 cents per record, per email address, and you get to email them up to 4 times a month. So for 4 cents, you can lock up your farm and make sure you have all the access to all the email addresses in your farm, and no one else can get those because they only license it to one person. So you can see about 25% of the records in the farm. There's 8,002 records, 19, 22, almost 25% have an email associated with them. So for $76 a month, you can license those emails. What that means is you have the ability to email them through the Dynamic Farm system 4 times per month. And that's pretty cool because you don't have to worry about, I'm sorry, I don't mean you have to worry about. What's pretty cool about that is that you have the ability to email them, and it's not a large expense, and you can lock up that area. Now, you don't actually receive the email address. You have to do it through their system. But here's what's cool about that is when you send an email, if people reply, then you obviously have their email address. So I kind of want to make a disclaimer about the phone numbers and the emails. I highly urge you, do not do generic blast. Oh, I'm the new agent in the area. Those types of things, all that's going to do is going to get you blocked on the phone, or it'll get them to unsubscribe you on the email list. And you don't want that because you're cutting down your leads. What I would do instead is only send pertinent information about their local market. For instance, negotiate with a local restaurant a special discount for people that get this email, and you can get 25% off your regularly priced menu item at ABC restaurant, or at the dry cleaners, or at the ice cream place. Free kids scoop of ice cream with an adult scoop. Reply to this email and you'll get your discount code. Do something like that does 2 things. Number 1, makes them want it. If it's something they want, if it's a popular place, someplace that everybody loves in the neighborhood, it's phenomenal. That works really well. But number 2, you want to make it so they have to give you their email address or reply in order to get the information. So that's what I would do, because that way you can actually have their email and add them to your database that way. Doing community events is also very good. Letting people know where their polling place is for their neighborhood at voting time, or maybe there's a community event. I saw in Echo Park there's the monster soapbox races. So people need to know about that because I'm sure some streets are going to be closed. So if you let the local neighborhood know, hey, these streets are going to be closed because the soapbox races come out, it's going to be fun, festivities, etc. But don't take these streets because there's going to be a lot of traffic. Or the marathon is happening this weekend. Those types of things are good because they need that information. They want that information. They won't unsubscribe if they're getting valuable information. And then after down the road, you can do more marketing stuff specific to yourself. But that's how you get the email addresses, or how you have the access to email them. You can select how many you want to license. Again, because there's no credits in my account, I can't actually go on and license these. But if you had credits, then you could proceed and do that. There would be a box here to license them based on the credits that you have. Right here is the settings wheel. When you click on that, you can change your information at any point. And so that's there, but I wanted to take you back to the area where we have all of our leads. Again, we're in the premium section, so these are the leads that you can purchase. You can get the emails, the phone numbers. This was just meant to be a quick tutorial to kind of show you how to use the system. And so hopefully this has been beneficial. I'm going to show you a few things now on their email system. I'm going to put some links on the screen. Some information on are these links here. You can either print screen them or copying them down or something like this, or maybe I'll put this in a format that I can email. You can ask me for it, and I can put it so I can email it. These are videos that help you learn how to use the email part of the system. So Lawyer's Title Dynamic Farm is linked to it's all run by another company, but it's linked to their system, their email system. So these are videos that show you how to use their system. I highly recommend, the ones to the bottom. The ones toward the top you may not use unless you're going to add your database into their system, which you can do if you like. But the ones like assigning an e-campaign to one of your contacts, assigning an e-campaign to a contact, editing an e-letter down here at the bottom, and the last one, creating an e-letter from your existing email. It might be good for you to watch those videos. They're typically short videos, 2 or 3 minute videos that show you how to use their email system. I've had these links for a very long time, so if 1 or 2 are not working, that could be why. But you can also contact their support department to learn how to use their email system to be able to send emails through their system. So that's that. I will most likely put this on a form that I can send out with this video so you have it. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. Sorry for it to be so long. I try to do it as quick as possible, but enjoy. Have a great one.